Dedication. To the ones who feel it, that silent pressure in your chest when you wake, the ache that whispers, you were made for more. This book is for you. For every soul haunted by the greatness it keeps postponing. May these words burn the sleep out of your spirit and remind you that comfort was never your destiny. Preface. The Man Who Died Full. They said he was a good man, a quiet man, worked hard, never caused trouble, stayed out of noise. At his funeral, they listed what he owned, but not what he was. What they didn't know was that he carried books he never wrote, songs he never sang, ideas he buried under fear, caution, and timing. He didn't die of sickness. He died of hesitation. He left the world full of potential, full of talent, full of excuses. And I realized something that night. The cemetery is not just a resting place. It's the richest place on earth. It holds businesses never started, dreams never pursued, words never spoken. It holds greatness that died pregnant with purpose. This book is a rebellion against that death. It's a declaration that you will not go quietly into the soil, that your gifts will not be buried with you. You were not born to die full. You were born to die empty and live legendary. Author's note: why I had to write this. I didn't write this because I figured life out. I wrote it because I almost wasted mine. There was a time I confused comfort for peace. I called hesitation wisdom. I told myself I was waiting on God, but in truth, God was waiting on me. One day, I looked in the mirror and saw a man carrying too much, too many ideas, too many intentions, too many unfinished callings. And I heard a voice inside me say, "You are running out of time to become who you were sent to be." That was the day the fire began. And that's what this book is, fire. Not motivation, not self-help. Fire for the parts of you that keep pretending you're fine. As you read these pages, you'll feel confronted, exposed, and awakened. Good. That's how rebirth feels. When you reach the last page, my hope is not that you'll feel inspired, but that you'll feel obligated. Obligated to leave nothing behind, obligated to die empty and live legendary. The day you were born, you were sent to war. The world didn't welcome you with peace. It handed you breath and battle. The moment you opened your eyes, something unseen took note. Another soul entered the field. You weren't born onto neutral ground. You were born into conflict between duty and delay, between purpose and pleasure, between who you could be and who you keep pretending to be. Most people forget that. They call it life. But life is not leisure. Life is assignment. Every day you wake, a war resumes, not around you, but within you. The decree. You weren't born to survive the day. You were born to shake history. That's why your peace feels restless. That's why the easy life feels empty. Something in you was designed for fire, for struggle, for mastery. And until you obey that design, nothing, not money, not applause, not comfort, will silence the ache. The confrontation. Look around you. Most people aren't living, they're lingering. They breathe, but their dreams are on life support. They talk of someday, while time quietly buries their potential alive. You think you have time? You don't. You have opportunity disguised as breath, and every exhale is another unpaid debt to your purpose. Every delay is another victory for the lesser version of you. You were not made for the shallow end. You were built for storms, and yet you hide from rain. You ask for comfort when you were created for conquest. The greatest war you will ever fight will not be against the world. It will be against the part of you that wants to stay average. The revelation. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't doing whatever you want, it's commanding yourself to do what you must. And the Quran echoes the same law. Indeed, God will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. That's the alignment. Heaven and philosophy agree. Your life will not rise until you do. You can't pray for greatness while protecting weakness. You can't ask for destiny while defending comfort. The war has always been sacred because what's at stake isn't your success, it's your soul's obedience. So here is your truth. You were not born to wander through days. You were sent to wage purpose through them. You were not born to fit in. You were born to fulfill command. You are not waiting on life to open a door. Life is waiting for you to burn through one. From this moment on, stop calling it struggle. Call it training. Stop calling it delay. Call it discipline. Stop calling it war. Call it becoming. Because the day you were born, you were sent to war. And now that you remember, the mission begins.
Chapter 1. The Weight of Unused Potential. The Hidden Burden. There's a heaviness you can't name. It follows you to bed, wakes with you in silence, and watches you scroll through other people's progress. It's not anxiety. It's unused power, the weight of what you could have done but keep postponing. You were born carrying assignments, not ornaments. Every skill, every spark, every idea inside you is proof of work owed. When you ignore them, they don't die quietly. They turn against you as restlessness, boredom, and guilt. You call it burnout, but you're not burned out. You're backed up. Your spirit is overloaded with unrealized possibility. The pain you feel is not exhaustion, it's compression, potential trying to escape through the cracks of comfort. The lie of hidden time. You tell yourself you still have time, that you'll start when things calm down, that one day the path will clear. That's the lie, because time isn't generous, it's just silent. It won't announce when your chance expires, it simply moves on to someone bolder. The truth is harsh. You're not running out of ideas, you're running out of tomorrows. The psychology of delay. Psychologists call it temporal discounting, the human habit of trading long-term purpose for short-term ease. Your brain seeks relief, not results. Comfort releases dopamine, progress releases responsibility. That's why you confuse thinking with working. Planning feels productive. It feeds the illusion of movement. But thought without action is spiritual obesity, consumption without conversion. Every time you say, "I'll start later," you reward hesitation. The brain learns that delay equals safety. Soon, procrastination stops being a behavior. It becomes identity. You stop calling it fear and start calling it realism. You tell yourself, "I'm being wise." No, you're being ruled by the comfort of maybe. Comfort masquerades as wisdom when fear wears a suit. It speaks softly, saying, "Wait until you're ready." But readiness never comes because fear keeps moving the deadline. Ego in disguise. The most dangerous form of wasted potential isn't laziness, it's pride. Pride that says, "I could do it anytime." That sentence is ego's lullaby. It convinces you that capability equals completion. But unrealized ability is no different than non-existence. The world rewards demonstration, not intention. You're not judged by what you could do. You're remembered for what you did. Many people worship their potential. They polish it, protect it, brag about it. They call it standards. But perfectionism is often pride dressed as excellence. It's fear of being seen starting small. Case study. The architect who never built. He sketched cities that could have changed skylines. Every notebook was a new world, bridges, parks, living art. He said he was gathering investors. He said he wanted perfection. He said soon. Years passed. You can now find his drawings online, admired by students who ask, why were none of these ever built? Because sketches don't become legacy. Blueprints without bricks are just beautiful delays. You think your ideas will wait for you. They won't. Neglected purpose expires like food left in the sun. What once could feed millions begins to rot in silence. Micro-parable. The farmer and the seeds. A farmer once stored his best seeds, promising to plant them next season. Rain came, drought followed. Years passed. When he finally opened the bag, the seeds had dried into dust. He had water. He had land. He had time. What he lacked was urgency. You are that farmer when you keep your brilliance in storage. Unused ideas spoil, just like unplanted seeds. They lose the power to grow. Framework. The 3 laws of potential. Potential ignored becomes pain. The longer you postpone use, the heavier it feels. Potential expressed becomes peace. Creation empties pressure. Obedience restores order. Potential fulfilled becomes proof. When you act, you validate the breath that built you. Your goal is not to protect your potential. It's to spend it completely. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on discipline. Epictetus taught, no great thing is created suddenly. He wasn't warning against ambition, he was warning against impatience. Greatness is gradual because mastery requires daily release. Potential has to leak out through consistency, not explosion. You keep waiting for momentum before moving, but motion creates momentum. Action invites revelation. In Stoic terms, discipline is destiny. Discipline isn't punishment, it's protection. It guards you from the slow death of wasted ability. It ensures you meet tomorrow empty, not guilty. Spiritual parallel. The divine trust. The Quran says, indeed, we offered the trust to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, and they declined to bear it and feared it, but man undertook it. That trust is your capacity, your divine loan of potential. The heavens trembled at its weight. You accepted it without hesitation. That means mediocrity isn't humility, it's breach of contract. Every talent you withhold is disobedience disguised as modesty. Every calling you postpone is arrogance wrapped in fear. Because you are telling the Creator, I know better when to move. Purpose is sacred currency. If you hoard it, it loses value. If you circulate it, it multiplies. Deceiver insight. The real cost of unused potential. The cost of wasted talent is invisible until it's permanent. You never see the lives you could have changed, the joy you could have created, the peace you could have earned. You don't mourn the person you could have become because you never met them. That's the tragedy of comfort. Its victims die smiling. Potential is supposed to hurt when it's idle. That pain is mercy, heaven's reminder that you still have something left to give. What you call not having motivation is often divine irritation, its purpose refusing to stay buried. The voice that says there's more isn't discontent, it's destiny. Micro story. The missed cure. In the 1940s, a rural pharmacist stumbled onto a plant compound that eased chronic pain. He promised to test it when the business slows down. He never did. Decades later, another researcher rediscovered the same compound. It became the basis of a billion-dollar medication. The first man died unknown, convinced he had time. He didn't lose to competition, he lost to postponement. Potential ignored doesn't stay dormant, it migrates to the person bold enough to act. Framework: the daily extraction method. To lighten the weight of potential, you must spend it intentionally. Step 1. Identify one gift you will release today: an idea, a message, a design, an act of service. Step 2. Do it before doubt gets a voice. Step 3. Record proof, evidence that you're lighter. Repeat until expression feels like oxygen. The secret is simple. Potential loses power when practiced daily. A fulfill of light is not measured by years lived, but gifts exhausted. Inner declaration, the emptying creed. Say this until it becomes reflex. I refuse to die full. I will not carry into tomorrow what belongs to today. My gifts are not decorations, they are duties. Each sunrise is a command to release. I trade hesitation for obedience, comfort for creation. I spend everything, so when death comes, there's nothing left to take. Echo of legacy. Imagine your final day. The air is still. No applause, no crowd, just you and the record of what you released. Will you stand before your Creator heavy with unused strength, or light because you left it all on the field? The goal was never comfort, it was completion. Die empty and live legendary. Transition to Chapter 2, the myth of more time. Now you understand the weight you carry, unused power pressing against the walls of your soul. But the mind has one last defense mechanism, the illusion of more time. It tells you tomorrow will be easier. In the next chapter, we'll expose that lie and show how urgency becomes freedom.
Chapter 2. The Myth of More Time. The Lie of Infinite Tomorrow. There's a voice that keeps you calm. It says, relax, you've got time. That voice is a liar. It doesn't shout, it soothes. It tells you that delay is wisdom, that patience is maturity, that next week will be better. But what it really means is never. Every later is a quiet funeral for what could have been. Every not yet is another brick in the wall between you and destiny. Time isn't the river you stand beside, it's the current carrying you away. The psychology of waiting. We wait because waiting feels safe. It's predictable. It allows us to imagine success without facing its cost. Neuroscientists call this time bias, the brain's habit of favoring comfort now over reward later. The future feels far away, so the loss feels abstract. You postpone action, thinking you'll catch up later, but the brain doesn't measure time, it measures habit. The more you delay, the more delay becomes normal. Soon, procrastination feels natural, and progress feels foreign. You start saying, I work best under pressure. No, you just learned to survive in chaos because you refuse to train in peace. You've confused adrenaline with purpose. Case study, the engineer who watched the clock. In 2004, two young engineers in Kenya developed a mobile payment prototype years before M-Pesa existed. They called it Send Cash. It worked flawlessly in testing. Instant transfers, no bank needed. They waited. They wanted more investors, a better interface, the right moment. 2 years later, M-Pesa launched and changed an entire continent. When asked what happened, one of the inventors said, "We thought we had time." That sentence is the epitaph of potential everywhere. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on mortality. Epictetus warned, you act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death stands beside you. The Stoics didn't meditate on death to be morbid. They did it to be awake. They understood that urgency is clarity.
When you remember you're temporary, you start living deliberately. Ask yourself, if you knew you had 1 year left, what would change? Now look closely at that list. Those are the things you actually care about. Everything else is noise. Time isn't a resource you spend slowly. It's a loan with no repayment plan and no renewal. Every sunrise is a withdrawal from your account. When it's empty, you can't negotiate for extension. Spiritual parallel. The Quran says, "Every soul shall taste death, and to you you will be returned." It's not a threat. It's a wake-up call. A divine way of saying, you don't own time, you're borrowing it. In faith, wasting time isn't just inefficient, it's disobedient. It's telling your creator, I have something more important than the assignment you gave me. Every moment you spend without purpose is a moment spent outside alignment. That's why urgency is not stress, it's worship. To move with purpose is to honor the breath you've been loaned. To delay is to assume you'll be given another one. The hidden comfort of someday. Someday is the drug of the dreamer. It lets you feel hopeful without being responsible. It allows you to pretend you're on the path while never taking a step. You say, I'm waiting for the right season. But seasons don't create harvests, farmers do. You say, I'll start when I have more time. But you don't find time, you free it by killing distraction. Here's the truth. If you won't use 1 hour today, you won't use a week tomorrow. Discipline doesn't appear when life gets easy. It's forged when life gets busy and you move anyway. You've confused adrenaline with purpose. The Achiever Insight. How fear hides behind later. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's micro-fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of irrelevance. So you don't say no, you say not yet. It feels polite, it's still death by delay. The mind thinks waiting is safer because it avoids exposure. But inaction is still a decision, a vote for stagnation. Every day you hesitate, someone less qualified moves faster and becomes the proof you were meant to be. You don't get rewarded for what you intended, you get rewarded for what you executed. The world pays for evidence, not potential. Microstory. The journalist who never published. She had truth in her hands, a story that could have changed policy and saved lives. She wanted to confirm one more source. She wanted to double-check one more fact. She wanted to sleep on it. Another paper ran the story a week later. They got the credit, the awards, the impact. She got the lesson. Perfectionism doesn't protect you from mistakes. It just guarantees you'll make them too late. Framework. The urgency equation. To destroy the myth of more time, build a system that forces movement. Step 1. Count your time in missions, not minutes. Ask daily, what is today for? Step 2. Anchor urgency to mortality. Write your own deadline in ink, not imagination. Step 3. Eliminate the infinite plan. If your timeline has no finish line, you'll never start. Step 4. Choose execution over explanation. Explain less, build more. Each day you treat as infinite is a day you waste. Each day you treat as final is a day you maximize. Philosophical flip. The economy of days. Imagine you wake each morning to find 86,400 coins in your account. You can spend them however you wish, but at midnight, they vanish. No carryover, no credit. Tomorrow morning, you'll get another 86,400. How carefully would you spend them? That's your life. 86,400 seconds a day. Every second unspent is lost forever. The wealthiest people in the world can buy anything but one more second. Why should you waste the one they can't afford? Spiritual flip. Time as trust. Your time is not yours. It's a trust. Every hour is a test of gratitude. You don't thank the giver by talking. You thank him by using the gift. Heaven doesn't reward intention alone. It rewards completion. That's why angels record deeds, not dreams. Every day you act is a page filled. Every day you wait is a page left blank. The Achiever Insight. The trap of perpetual preparation. Preparation feels responsible. It lets you believe you're moving forward while actually standing still. But permanent preparation is just fear wearing productivity's clothes. You don't need more courses, books, or approvals. You need proof of life, evidence you're using the hours you already have. Movement creates clarity, waiting creates confusion. The longer you pause, the louder doubt gets. Momentum is spiritual armor. Keep it on. Micro lesson: the clock and the candle. A wise teacher once held up a clock and a candle. He lit the candle and asked, "Which runs out first?" The student said, "The candle." He smiled. He said, "Both run out at the same speed. You just see the candle burn. Time is burning just as fast. You just can't see the melt." Framework: the 24-hour obedience code. 1. Morning contract. On waking, state one thing you will finish today for your calling. 2. Midday audit. Ask, have I moved or merely planned? 3. Night review. List what you gave back to life today, not what you consumed. If you can do this for 30 days, you'll destroy the illusion of more time. Because discipline isn't about control, it's about clarity. When you treat each day as a mission, you start feeling peace, not panic. Inner declaration: the urgency creed. Say this until it brands your mind. I no longer worship the myth of tomorrow. I am a soldier of now. I move when the call arrives, not when fear permits. My time is a loan, and I repay it through execution. Every sunrise is an invoice from heaven. I pay it in obedience. I am allergic to later. I am immune to excuses. I act before I'm ready. Because the clock never stops, and neither will I. Echo of realization. Look around you. How many dreams died because their owners believed they had more time? How many gifts wait inside you, checking the calendar, wondering if you'll ever open them? You don't need more time. You need more truth. And the truth is simple. Life is short only when you waste it. Act while you breathe. Speak while you can. Build while your hands still answer. The clock is a liar. Purpose is eternal. Transition to Chapter 3. Pain as proof. You've learned that time isn't a friend, it's a filter. It separates those who intend from those who act. But there's another barrier after time: pain. The moment you move, you'll bleed a little. In the next chapter, we'll face that fire and show why pain is the truest proof of progress. End of Chapter 2.
Chapter 3. Pain as proof. The battlefield of becoming. Everyone wants strength. Few want the training that builds it. Pain is that training. It's the gem of the soul, the price of progress, the proof you're still alive. You can't think your way into greatness. You have to bleed your way there. Every empire, every innovation, every spiritual awakening was born in discomfort. Comfort creates spectators. Pain creates soldiers. When life starts hurting, don't panic. You're in the right classroom. The lie of comfort equals safety. We were raised to believe that comfort means we're safe, that if something feels hard, it must be wrong, that happiness is the goal and pain is the enemy. That's the lie. Comfort is not safety, it's sedation. It keeps you breathing, but never becoming. It gives you peace without purpose. The mind seeks equilibrium. It wants predictable, controllable, familiar. But destiny doesn't live in the familiar. It lives in the furnace. Growth doesn't come when you're calm. It comes when you're cornered. Pressure isn't punishment, it's preparation. You pray for elevation, then complain about the climb. But the mountain isn't against you. It's testing whether you deserve the view. The psychology of pain avoidance. Pain avoidance is a biological instinct. Your brain is wired to protect, not perfect. It reads every discomfort is danger, even when that discomfort is growth.
That's why you quit workouts halfway, why you stop writing after rejection, why you give up on the call God placed in your chest because it hurts to carry. The limbic system doesn't care about legacy, it cares about survival. It tells you to retreat, not rebuild. But every time you run from pain, you strengthen fear's authority. And every time you endure, you reclaim command. Pain is the signal that weakness is leaving your system. Ignore it and you stay fragile. Endure it and you get forged. Case study: the runner who stopped at 80%. There's a rule among elite athletes, the 40% rule. When your body screams enough, you're only 40% done. A young runner once quit a marathon at the 32-kilometer mark. Legs cramping, chest burning, vision fading. He told himself he was dying. He collapsed on the sidewalk while others pushed past. Later, at the hospital, doctors told him, "You weren't dying, you were dehydrated." A week later, he watched a 65-year-old cross the same finish line he never reached. Pain had lied to him. It said stop, when it really meant adapt. Most people live at that 80% threshold, far enough to feel tired, never far enough to transform. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on suffering. Epictetus said, "Difficulties show what men are." The Stoics saw pain as a diagnostic tool, not an enemy. They believed hardship reveals, not ruins. When a storm hits, the tree's roots are tested. Weak roots snap, strong ones deepen. Pain is data. It tells you where you're still dependent on comfort. It exposes attachments, excuses, and illusions. That's why the Stoics trained themselves to welcome difficulty, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they feared stagnation more. To a disciplined mind, pain is feedback. To an undisciplined one, it's failure. Spiritual parallel, the furnace of faith. The Quran says, "Do the people think they will be left to say, 'We believe,' and they will not be tested?" Pain is not divine punishment, it's divine quality control. It's the audit before elevation. God uses pressure to separate the sincere from the spectators. If faith were comfort, everyone would claim it, but belief becomes evidence only when it survives fire. Every hardship is a purification. It burns away ego, laziness, and false identity until what remains is real. That's why prophets suffered. That's why saints endured. That's why you're being stretched. Heaven doesn't break you, it builds you through breaking. The Achiever Insight, pain as proof of life. When everything hurts, it means you're alive to the mission. Pain isn't a sign of abandonment, it's a sign of alignment. It means the work has found you. Look at your own story. The chapters that changed you weren't the easy ones. They were the nights you prayed through tears, the seasons you built with nothing, the mornings you showed up without applause. That pain didn't kill you. It carved you. It gave shape to strength. Pain has never been your enemy. It's been your editor, cutting away everything unworthy of your purpose. Micro story. The blacksmith's lesson. A young apprentice once watched his master heat a sword until it glowed white. He asked, "Why do you hit it so hard?" The blacksmith smiled, "Because it isn't steel until it survives the fire." He hammered again, sparks flying like lightning. Every strike removes weakness. Every flame reveals strength. If I stop now, it bends. If I finish, it becomes legend. The apprentice understood. The fire wasn't cruelty, it was creation. You too are in the forge.
Every setback, rejection, and heartbreak is a strike shaping your edge. Stay in the heat long enough and you'll cut through the version of you that once broke easily. Framework, the endurance equation. To master pain, you must translate it. Pain speaks, few listen. Here's how. 1. Identify the type. Is it growth pain or destruction pain? One strengthens, the other warns. Learn the difference. 2. Assign meaning. Ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? Clarity turns suffering into schooling. 3. Anchor to purpose. Tie the struggle to your why. If the pain serves purpose, it becomes bearable. 4. Respond, don't retreat. Move small, but move. Motion tells your mind you're still in control. 5. Record the lesson. Document what survived the storm. It becomes your playbook for the next one. Pain handled wisely becomes wisdom. Pain handled with fear becomes waste. Philosophical flip. The gift inside pain. Imagine a sculptor chiseling marble. From the outside, it looks like destruction, hammering, breaking, removing. But each strike reveals the statue hidden within. That's what pain does. It removes what you no longer need. It reveals what you always were. The gift is not in avoiding the blows, it's in surviving them with grace. Spiritual flip. The blessing of burden. Your burden is proof of relevance. If life still presses you, it means heaven still expects you. Ease is rarely assigned to those with assignments. When God trusts you with destiny, He trains you with discomfort. Remember, you prayed for strength. He sent resistance. You asked for faith. He sent uncertainty. You asked for purpose. He sent problems. Not to break you, to prepare you, because every answered prayer arrives disguised as a test. The Achiever Insight, the threshold law. There's a threshold between average and extraordinary. It's paved with pain. Most people quit right before they adapt. The body can run longer than it believes. The mind can endure more than it imagines. The spirit can rise higher than both combined. Every moment you want to quit is a mirror. It's asking, will you choose comfort or completion? Pain doesn't mean stop. It means you're almost through. Framework. The 5 reflexes of resilience. 1. Breathe through the fire. Control your body and your mind will follow. 2. Name the lesson. Labeling pain removes its mystery. 3. Move 1 inch forward. Endurance is momentum multiplied by minutes. 4. Refuel with gratitude. Thank the challenge. It's shaping you. 5. Rest with intention. Rest is recovery, not retreat.
Pain endured wisely becomes permanent strength. Inner declaration, the pain creed. Say this until it becomes truth. I no longer run from pain. I recognize it as proof of purpose. Every ache is evidence that I am alive and becoming. I am forged, not broken. I am refined, not ruined. My scars are signatures of survival. I will not curse the fire. I will command it. For every strike I endure, I emerge sharper. Pain is not my prison, it is my passage. Echo of becoming. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when prayers seem unanswered and progress invisible. That's when you must remember, the pain is proof. It means something inside you is still fighting, still alive, still unfinished. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. You are not losing, you are learning to last. And when this chapter of your struggle closes, the world will see not what broke you, but what built you through it. Transition to Chapter 4, the price of half commitment. You face the fire. You learn that pain doesn't destroy, it defines. But now we enter the next trial, commitment, because nothing kills greatness faster than half devotion. In the next chapter, we'll expose the disease of inconsistency and show how total commitment turns struggle into unstoppable success. End of Chapter 3.
Chapter 4. The Price of Half Commitment. The Silent Disease. Most dreams don't die from failure. They die from half commitment. From people who show up halfway, believe halfway, sacrifice halfway, and then wonder why nothing changes. Half commitment looks harmless. It looks balanced, wise, realistic. But it's spiritual suicide in slow motion. You can't plant a tree in two soils. You can't chase two callings with one heartbeat. Every divided loyalty wreaks power. Life doesn't reward effort. It rewards ownership. And ownership requires all in. The lie of balanced effort. Society glorifies moderation. Don't burn out. Don't give too much. Keep your options open. That's the language of mediocrity dressed as wisdom. Balance is good when you've built. But in becoming, balance is the enemy. The early stage of greatness demands obsession. Focus so deep that the world calls it madness. You can rest later, but you can't rebuild wasted decades. You were never meant to give 50%. Creation itself doesn't work on half power. The sun doesn't rise halfway. The sea doesn't half flow. Why should you? The psychology of split focus. Half commitment begins in the mind. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, when your actions don't match your intentions. The mind hates inconsistency, so it creates excuses to protect ego. You say, "I'm just pacing myself." Translation: I'm scared of exposure. Because full commitment demands full visibility. And visibility means accountability. It's easier to stay halfway. That way, if you fail, you can say, "I never really tried." Half commitment is the shield of the insecure. It protects your reputation while destroying your results. Case study: the entrepreneur who quit halfway. He started strong, vision clear, product ready, investors nodding. But when sales dipped, he cut his budget to play it safe. When critics came, he slowed down to re-strategize. When fatigue hit, he said, "Maybe next quarter." 6 months later, the company folded. A competitor, less talented, less connected, took the same idea to market and thrived. The failure wasn't in the model. It was in the commitment. He built a bridge halfway across the river and wondered why he drowned. Half-built bridges kill more dreams than storms ever will. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on total discipline. Epictetus said, "No man is free unless he is master of himself." Mastery means devotion. You can't partially master discipline. You either command your will or you obey your weakness. The Stoics trained daily like soldiers of thought. They wrote, reflected, repeated. They understood that habits sculpt identity. If you give discipline half your heart, it will give you half your life. Greatness is jealous. It won't share you with distraction. Spiritual parallel, the covenant of completion. The Quran says, So when you have finished your duty, then stand up for worship. Meaning, when one mission ends, arise immediately to the next. Completion is divine etiquette. Half obedience is disobedience in disguise. You can't serve God and fear simultaneously. You can't pray for destiny while negotiating your level of effort. Faith is a contract, signed in intention, validated in action. If you promised purpose, then payment is total surrender. When the Creator gave you breath, He didn't say, do your best until it hurts. He said, fulfill the trust. The Deceiver insight. Half work, half life. Every unfinished task drains identity. Every unkept promise fractures confidence. You begin to distrust yourself. Half commitment turns the mind into civil war. One side reaching for greatness, the other side negotiating with comfort. And when the battle lasts long enough, you stop dreaming in color. You live safe, speak small, and call it wisdom. But safety is just slow surrender. When you choose halfway, you choose half existence. You breathe, but you don't burn. You live, but you don't leave a mark. Micro story. The two builders. Two men were hired to build a fortress. The first worked day and night, stone by stone, until the walls towered strong. The second only built when the sun was cool. He said, balance is important. When the storm came, the fortress stood. The shelter didn't. The storm doesn't care how tired you are. It respects only foundations that held nothing back. You are building your fortress daily. If you stop halfway, the storm will remind you. Framework. The integration cycle. Commitment is not emotion. It's system. 1. Declare. State the mission publicly or to heaven. Words build walls around will. 2. Decide. Remove Plan B. Divided focus divides force. 3. Discipline. Daily action at fixed hours. Consistency beats intensity. 4. Debrief. Review, adjust, never retreat. 5. Devote. Offer the result back to purpose, not pride. Repeat the cycle until execution becomes instinct. Philosophical flip. The half-life paradox. A candle that burns halfway still dies. The world remembers neither its light nor its warmth. You can't taste greatness by sampling effort. The universe hides its rewards behind full surrender. Once you give all, resistance loses power. Because the mind stops negotiating. Doubt feeds on options. Commitment starves it. Spiritual flip. The law of completion. The Quran reminds, and do not render your deeds vain. Deeds lose power when left unfinished. It's not failure that voids them. It's quitting mid-mission. Completion is worship. Every task you finish echoes gratitude. Every promise you keep multiplies trust. When you close the loop, heaven opens doors. The Deceiver insight. The cost of half. Half commitment costs full destiny. You think you're saving energy, but you're leaking power. You think you're staying safe, but you're shrinking potential. Partial obedience produces total frustration. You can't taste fulfillment when you only sip faith. You can't own success with rented effort. Your gift is allergic to inconsistency. It blossoms only under sustained heat. Framework. The one decision rule.
There's a simple cure for divided loyalty. Decide once. Most people decide daily, then renegotiate hourly. That's why their willpower collapses. Decide once that this is who you are. Then stop asking if you still feel like it. Feelings are guests. Identity is the homeowner. You don't need new motivation every morning. You need one irreversible decision that defines the rest. Inner declaration. The commitment creed. Say this until your actions echo it. I renounce halfway living. I finish what I start. My word is a covenant, not a suggestion. I do not negotiate with distraction. I honor my assignments with total presence. My discipline is devotion. My completion is worship. I am trusted because I am consistent. I do not stop when it's convenient. I stop when it's complete. Echo of Resolute. One day, you will look back at this season. You will see the moments you almost quit and realize those were the gates of greatness. Half commitment is a comfortable coffin. Full devotion is resurrection. Decide which side of that resurrection you want to stand on.
Transition to Chapter 5, Mastery over Emotion. You've learned the cost of halfway effort. Now you must conquer the root that breaks commitment, emotion. Because the undisciplined heart is the enemy of endurance. In the next chapter, we'll learn how to command feelings so your mood no longer decides your mission. End of Chapter 4. Chapter 5, Mastery over Emotion. The unseen master. Most people aren't ruled by logic or faith. They're ruled by mood. They move when they feel motivated. They stop when they feel tired. They believe when it feels good. They doubt when it feels hard. That's not freedom. That's slavery disguised as personality. You can't call yourself disciplined if emotions still make your decisions. Because the man who can't command his feelings will forever obey them. The lie of being true to yourself. The world tells you, follow your heart. That's the trap. Your heart is a weather system, changing, unpredictable, emotional. It's not a compass. It's a thermometer. It doesn't guide you. It reacts. Being true to yourself doesn't mean obeying your feelings. It means obeying your principles, even when your feelings rebel. Maturity begins when consistency no longer needs emotions' permission. The disciplined don't feel less. They just bow less to what they feel. The psychology of emotional hijacking. Neuroscience calls it amygdala hijack. The moment emotion floods your brain, logic goes offline. Anger, fear, excitement, they all distort perception. That's why people quit too early, lash out too fast, love too soon, or procrastinate forever. Emotion is energy, powerful, but undisciplined. Like fire, it can warm or burn depending on who's holding it. The problem isn't that you feel, it's that you let feelings lead. Emotion is meant to be fuel, not steering. If you don't train your emotions, they'll train you to quit, to complain, to crave comfort. Case study: the trader who lost his calm. A young stock trader turned $10,000 into $90,000 in 3 months. One morning, the market dipped. He panicked, ignored his strategy, and sold everything. Hours later, prices recovered.
His $90,000 became $18,000. When asked what went wrong, he said, "I knew the rules, I just couldn't feel them." Emotion deleted his discipline. That's how most people live, reacting faster than they reflect. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on inner dominion. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He believed that freedom begins when reaction ends. The Stoic doesn't suppress emotion, he supervises it. He observes anger without becoming it. He feels fear without bowing to it. That's the goal, not emotionless, but emotion governed. You can't stop storms from coming, but you can build walls high enough to keep them from flooding your purpose. Spiritual parallel. The law of restraint. The Quran says, "Those who restrain anger and pardon people, and Allah loves the doers of good." Notice it doesn't say those without anger. It says those who restrain it. Emotion is not sin. Indulgence is. Restraint is divine strength. Because the highest form of control is self-control. Anger, jealousy, lust, greed, these are not random impulses. They are tests of stewardship. Mastering them isn't about repression. It's about redirection. You don't kill fire. You turn it into light. The Achiever Insight. The myth of emotional honesty. You've been told that expressing every feeling makes you authentic. No, it just makes you unfiltered. Real authenticity is integrity, acting according to truth, not temper. A leader who yells every time he's angry isn't honest, he's undisciplined. A believer who prays only when inspired isn't faithful, he's emotional. Your emotions are indicators, not instructions. They tell you what's happening inside. They don't tell you what to do next. Micro story. The Commander and the Storm. A general once led his troops through a raging sandstorm. Visibility was zero. The soldiers panicked. One shouted, "We can't move. We can't see." The general smiled. He said, "Then we move slower, but we move." He knew that motion, not mood, keeps men alive. By the time the storm cleared, they had advanced miles ahead of the enemy who stayed waiting for better weather. That's the essence of mastery. You move even when the sky screams, "Stop." Framework. The emotional chain of command. To lead your emotions, give them rank. 1. Spirit. Commander. Purpose decides direction. 2. Mind. Strategist. Plans decide pace. 3. Emotion. Soldier. Energy fuels execution. When the soldier mutinies, remind it who gives the orders. Emotion is powerful under command, but dangerous when promoted to leadership. Philosophical flip. The art of delayed reaction. Train yourself to pause. 5 seconds between feeling and action can save 5 years of regret. Epictetus said, "If you are ever tempted to respond with anger, be silent." That silence is power. Because in those few seconds, emotion cools and wisdom enters. Most disasters begin as fast reactions. Most breakthroughs begin as slow breaths. spiritual flip. The prophet's patience. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The strong man is not the one who can overpower others. The strong man is the one who can control himself when angry." True strength is invisible. It's the stillness behind the storm. The smile when insulted, the calm reply when provoked. Every moment you master emotion, you mirror divine composure, because restraint is not weakness, it's worship. The achiever insight. The energy conversion principle. Emotion is energy. If you suppress it, it explodes. If you express it blindly, it destroys. But if you convert it, it empowers. Turn fear into focus. Turn anger into drive. Turn sadness into empathy. Turn envy into inspiration. Your job isn't to escape emotion. It's to engineer it. The mature don't chase balance. They create it. Framework. The response ritual. When emotion strikes, follow this code. Step 1. Name it. What am I feeling exactly? Step 2. Frame it. What is this emotion protecting or revealing? Step 3. Reclaim it. Take one small action aligned with purpose, not pain. Step 4. Record it. Every time you win a moment, document the victory. That's how emotional strength becomes muscle memory. Micro parable. The archer's lesson. An archer trained for years, but kept missing targets. Frustrated, he blamed the wind, the bow, the arrows. His teacher finally said, "You aim steady, but you breathe in anger. Calm the storm, and the arrow will know the way." The next day, he hit every mark. Emotion is breath. Control it, and precision returns. Philosophical anchor. Stoic serenity. The Stoics practice premeditatio malodorum, visualizing future difficulties to weaken their sting. They imagined loss, failure, and insult before they happened, so when life delivered them, they stayed unmoved.
Preparation makes emotion predictable. Predictability makes it powerless. When you expect turbulence, you stop fearing it. And when you stop fearing it, you start flying through it. Spiritual anchor. Sabr and sakina. In Arabic, sabr means patience, and sakina means tranquility sent by God. Patience invites tranquility. When you endure quietly, divine peace descends. That's why calm people seem covered in something unseen. They are. It's divine composure. You can't fake it. It's the byproduct of surrender and self-control. Master emotion, and heaven assists you. The Achiever Insight. Emotional consistency equals spiritual credibility. People don't trust talent, they trust temperament. An inconsistent leader makes stable teams unstable. An unpredictable believer turns faith into chaos. If your emotions still dictate your commitment, your destiny will always be delayed by mood swings. The world doesn't bend for your feelings, it bends for your focus. Framework. The 3-second reset. Whenever emotion spikes, do this. Pause. Inhale deeply for 3 seconds. Pray. Whisper, "I am in control through you." Proceed. Take one step forward, no matter how small. Master this reflex, and no argument, delay, or insult can derail your mission. Control of emotion is control of destiny. Inner declaration, the mastery creed. Say this until it rewires you. I am not ruled by how I feel. I command my emotions. They obey my mission. I breathe before I break. I respond, not react. I turn fire into focus and pain into power. My calm is not weakness. It is warfare won. Every emotion kneels before my purpose, for I am no longer a servant of mood. I am the master of motion. Echo of stillness. When the world provokes you, smile. That smile is the mark of mastery. You no longer move with the tide of feeling. You move with the wind of wisdom. Your emotions may still roar, but you've learned to ride them like waves instead of drowning beneath them. And when people ask how you remain unshaken, you will simply say, because my peace is not from this world. Transition to Chapter 6, the final measure. You've conquered emotion. Now it's time to confront the last test of legacy, the final measure, where everything you've built will be weighed, your discipline, your deeds, your devotion. In the next chapter, we'll face mortality itself and learn how to live so completely that death finds nothing left to take. End of Chapter 5.
Chapter 6, the final measure, the clock that counts down. Every heartbeat is a countdown, every sunrise a subtraction. We pretend time is infinite, but the truth is we are all running out of it. You don't own time, you rent it, and the rent is due daily, paid in action, not intention. There will come a day when your name is said for the last time, when your phone lights up but you don't, when your dreams become someone else's what could have been. The question is not how long you live, but how much of you actually lives before the clock stops. The lie of later. It's the most seductive lie ever sold. It whispers, you have time. It comforts you while it kills you. Later lets you stay average without guilt. Later makes you believe potential has patience. It doesn't. Every time you say later, you're scheduling regret. One day you'll check the calendar and realize that later was yesterday. Case study. The man who waited to live. He worked 30 years at a job he hated. He told his wife, once I retire, we'll travel, we'll live. Retirement came. He bought the tickets. The night before the flight, his heart stopped. He never left the city that killed his spirit. His suitcase still sits by the door, a monument to the danger of delay. You think you're saving time for later, but time is saving nothing for you. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on death. Epictetus taught, keep death and exile before your eyes every day, and you will never have a mean thought nor covet anything. Memento mori, remember you must die. The Stoics didn't meditate on death to fear it. They meditated on it to focus. Awareness of death doesn't darken life. It sharpens it. You stop wasting days on drama, arguments, and fear of opinion. You start asking, if this were my last day, would this still matter? That one single question refines existence. Spiritual parallel, the scale of deeds. The Quran says, then those whose scales are heavy with good deeds, they will be in pleasant life. But those whose scales are light, they will lose their souls. Every action weighs something. Words, intentions, excuses, they all fall on one side of the scale. On that day, there is no almost. You can't say, I meant to. Only I did or I didn't. Half commitment won't tip the balance. Hidden potential won't count as performance. What matters is what you executed, not what you imagined. You will meet every undone task again, but this time it will testify against you. Doc Achiever Insight. Die empty, live legendary. To die empty is not to die poor, it's to die poured out. It means you left nothing buried, no song unsung, no book unwritten, no greatness hoarded. Most people die full of fear, full of ideas, full of excuses. You were meant to leave this world lighter than you came, emptied of ego, overflowing with impact. Death isn't the enemy, wasted life is. Microstory, the scribe and the unfinished book. A scribe once promised to write a book that would outlive him. Every year he said, "When I'm ready." He bought new ink, new parchment, new excuses. In his old age, he dictated one final sentence. "Had I started sooner, this page would have been the last chapter." Then he died mid-word. His students published the fragment. It sold not as wisdom, but as warning. The greatest tragedy is not dying early, it's dying unwritten. Framework. The legacy equation. Legacy equals purpose times execution times endurance. 1. Purpose. Know why you were sent. Without meaning, action becomes motion without direction. 2. Execution. Act daily. Intentions don't echo, impact does. 3. Endurance. Finish what you start. Legacy is built on completion, not commencement. Revisit this equation every morning. Ask, what am I multiplying today? Philosophical flip. The economy of time. Time is the only currency that can't be earned back. You spend it every second, consciously or carelessly. The wealthy don't have more time. They simply spend it on things that multiply meaning. You trade time for value every day. The only difference is whether the exchange is worthy. Spiritual flip. The breath as trust. Every breath is alone. The Quran says, "Then you will surely be asked that day about pleasure." Even the air you breathe is an accountability. Every inhale is an opportunity. Every exhale, a report. When the final one leaves your chest, your audit ends. Live so that when the angel of death comes, he finds nothing left to collect but an empty vessel, drained of potential, filled with legacy. Doc Achiever Insight, the mathematics of meaning. If you live to 80, you get 29,200 days. Subtract sleep, delay, distraction, fear. You have maybe 10,000 days of clarity. Every time you waste one, you burn currency you can never remint. Time doesn't refund, it only records. It's not cruel, just accurate. When you treat every day as sacred inventory, you stop trading hours for comfort and start investing them in immortality. Framework. The 5 final questions. Ask these before every major decision. If this were my last year, would I still do this? Will this matter when I'm gone? Does this align with why I was sent? Am I proud of the person this choice makes me? Would I want to face God explaining this? If the answer shakes you, correct course now, not later, not someday. Micro-parable. The scribe's secret. A scribe once promised to write a book that would outlive him. Every year he said, "When I'm ready." He bought new ink, new parchment, new excuses. In his old age, he dictated one final sentence. "Had I started sooner, this page would have been the last chapter." Then he died mid-word. His students published the fragment. It sold not as wisdom, but as warning. The greatest tragedy is not dying early, it's dying unwritten. Inner declaration. The final measure creed. I live like time owes me nothing. I finish what I begin. I measure my days by deeds, not desires. I waste no hour on bitterness or fear. My breath is a trust, my work a testimony. I leave no potential buried. When death arrives, it will find me empty. Empty of excuses, empty of hesitation, but full of legacy. Echo of eternity. One day someone will stand over your grave and speak your name for the last time. You won't hear it, but your work will. Make sure it still speaks louder than you ever could. Live urgently, serve completely, leave nothing. Because when the final measure is taken and your life is weighed in eternity's hands, the goal is simple. Nothing left to give, nothing left undone. Die empty, live legendary. End of chapter 6.
Chapter 7. The Discipline of Destiny. The Myth of Luck. People say destiny is chance, that some are chosen and others forgotten, that greatness is a lottery drawn by unseen hands. That's the myth. Destiny isn't written in clouds. It's carved in calendars, one disciplined day at a time. Luck is what lazy men call the harvest of the consistent. Every overnight success is just a long obedience finally visible. You're not waiting on fate. Fate is waiting for proof that you're serious. The law of preparation. The universe rewards readiness. Opportunities don't visit the unprepared. They pass by politely. Discipline builds readiness. It's the repetition that creates recognition. The man who trains daily looks lucky because he's visible when the door opens. Preparation is silent confidence. It doesn't post progress. It collects it. It's the grind no one applauds until the applause comes too late to matter. Every morning you train your craft, your faith, your focus. You're not just practicing, you're pre-approving your destiny. Case study. The builder of habitual greatness. A craftsman once decided to build a cathedral, but he never announced it. Every day he laid one brick, rain, fever, or famine. Decades later, travelers arrived and asked, "How did you build this alone?" He smiled. "I didn't build a cathedral. I just laid today's brick." That's the secret. Destiny is not a project. It's a pattern. When you master the pattern, the monument builds itself. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on control. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Discipline lives inside that sentence. You control effort, not outcome. You command action, not applause. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's doing what you must until want obeys. Stoic discipline is serenity in structure. It's not cold. It's committed. It's the quiet belief that mastery is moral duty. Spiritual parallel. Destiny as trust. The Quran says, "Indeed, Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves." Destiny is conditional. It waits for transformation before transmission. You can pray for success all year, but heaven answers movement, not maintenance. Discipline is worship in motion. Every consistent act testifies, "I'm ready for what I'm asking for." God doesn't withhold, He times, and the clock starts when commitment does. The Achiever Insight. Discipline creates divinity in motion. Every routine is a ritual. When you repeat excellence long enough, it becomes sacred. Showing up becomes prayer. Precision becomes praise. Consistency becomes communion. That's why the disciplined glow differently. They walk with the calm of people who know they're building something eternal. Discipline isn't drudgery. It's devotion wearing work clothes. Micro story. The clockmaker and the pulse. A young apprentice once told his master, "I can't focus all day. I keep losing rhythm." The clockmaker handed him a watch. He said, "This watch ticks 86,000 times daily. Each tick is identical. That's why it never loses time." The apprentice asked, "Doesn't it get tired?"
The master smiled. It doesn't think about the day, only the next tick. That's discipline. Faith in the next tick. Ignore the distance, honor the rhythm. Framework. The discipline blueprint. 1. Anchor the day. Start with silence or scripture before the noise. A still mind builds stable motion. 2. Set the standard. Decide once what excellent means, then refuse average. 3. Execute in blocks. Break destiny into hours, not hopes. Small wins stack faster than big wishes. 4. Audit nightly. What do you keep? What slip? Record, refine, repeat. 5. Rest with honor. Slip is not escape, it's strategy. Recovery reloads resilience. Do this long enough and discipline stops feeling forced. It becomes identity. Philosophical flip. Routine as rebellion. The undisciplined world calls consistency boring. That's fine. Predictability to the distracted looks like magic to the unfocused. Routine is rebellion against randomness. While others chase motivation, you build momentum. And momentum is destiny's magnet. Spiritual flip. Steadfastness as submission. The Quran repeats, indeed, those who say our Lord is Allah and remain steadfast, no fear shall be upon them. Steadfastness is the spiritual form of discipline. It means you stay firm even when heaven is silent. Faith without consistency is just emotion in costume. But when faith becomes habit, miracles become normal. The Achiever Insight. The hidden harvest. Discipline delays recognition but multiplies reward. What grows underground eventually breaks ground with strength. When nothing seems to change, remember, the seed feels burial the same way it feels planting. Keep watering. You're not stuck. You're sprouting. Framework. The rule of 1%. Improve 1% daily. Not 10, 1. Read one more page. Pray one more minute. Push one more rep. Forgive one more offense. Tiny increments. Massive immortality. Compounding doesn't just work for money. It works for mastery. Micro parable. The iron bar in the river. After years, it was pulled out, smooth and shining. It hadn't resisted the water. It surrendered to it daily. Flow after flow. Friction shaped it. That's discipline. Submitting to process until it polishes you. Inner declaration. The destiny creed. I do not wait for luck. I prepare for legacy. My routine is my weapon, my focus, my fortress. I worship through work and pray through persistence. Every repetition is proof of readiness. I move with rhythm, not rush. I finish because I was trusted. My destiny is not written by chance. It's carved by consistency. Echo of completion. You reach the end, not of a book, but of an excuse. From this moment, destiny is no longer mystery. It's muscle. Pain has become proof. Emotion has become servant. Commitment has become covenant. Time has become trust. And discipline has become destiny. So go. Lay the bricks. Count the ticks. Die empty. Live legendary. End of chapter 7. And of Die Empty, Live Legendary.
Chapter 8. The War Within. The Invisible Enemy. Every man thinks his battle is out there, with the critics, the system, the circumstance. But the greatest war you'll ever fight is silent and personal.
It happens between discipline and distraction, faith and fear, conviction and comfort. No flags, no guns, just choices. Every morning, the battle begins again inside you. The lie of the external battle. We blame everything outside because it's safer than admitting the truth. It's easier to say, the market is bad, than to admit, I'm inconsistent. Easier to say, people don't support me, than to stop showing up. The outer war is a myth created by the weak to avoid the inner one. You can conquer nations and still lose yourself, because self-defeat happens long before public failure. The psychology of inner resistance. Psychologists call it self-sabotage. It's the unconscious loyalty to your old limitations. When progress feels unfamiliar, the brain panics. It sends fear disguised as logic. Let's wait. Let's prepare more. Let's rest today. That's resistance, the invisible gravity that keeps dreams grounded. It feeds on comfort. It disguises fear as wisdom and laziness as balance. And it whispers the same poison every day. You're fine as you are. But you're not. Not yet. Case study. The soldier who lost without a foe. A decorated general returned from war undefeated, but retirement destroyed him. No more enemies, no more missions. Within a year, he was broken, angry, lost, purposeless. He realized something terrifying. The enemy was never the battlefield. It was my own comfort. He died peacefully, but not victorious, because peace without purpose is surrender in disguise. You can win every external fight and still lose the internal one. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on self-command. Epictetus warned, no man is free who is not master of himself. Freedom isn't the absence of restraint. It's the ability to restrain yourself. The Stoics trained daily for this invisible combat. They practiced hunger, silence, humility to keep the self obedient. To conquer the world, first conquer your impulses. The undisciplined are slaves no matter how high they climb. Self-command is the crown only the mastered can wear. Spiritual parallel. Jihad al-nafs, the inner struggle. In Islam, the greatest battle is jihad al-nafs, the struggle against one's lower self. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The strongest among you is the one who controls himself when angry." The battlefield of destiny is your heart. Shaitan doesn't need weapons, he uses whispers. The same voice that tells you to postpone prayer is the one that tells you to postpone greatness. Defeat there is defeat everywhere. Every act of self-control is spiritual combat. Every moment you silence ego, you earn victory unseen by men but celebrated by heaven. The Achiever Insight. The enemy within the mirror. Your reflection is not innocent. It hides both your greatest ally and your worst traitor. The mirror never lies. It just reflects your excuses back at you. Ego says, I know this already. Wisdom says, then why aren't you living it? Ego says, I'm trying. Discipline replies, trying is lying in slow motion. The war within isn't won by shouting affirmations. It's won by auditing your actions until excuses suffocate. Microstory. The boxer and his shadow. A boxer spent months preparing for a championship fight. Every day he sparred, but only with his shadow. When the real fight came, he was destroyed in 2 rounds. He had mastered motion, not impact. You can't shadow box your weaknesses. You have to let life hit back. Every temptation resisted, every emotion tamed, every comfort refused, that's real sparring. You don't train courage in calm, you train it in chaos. Framework, the inner war protocol. 1. Identify the enemy. Name the voice, fear, pride, laziness, doubt. You can't defeat what you won't define. 2. Observe without obeying. Feel the urge, don't feed it. Delay reaction till discipline catches up. 3. Counterattack. Replace weakness with work. If you want to stop overthinking, move. 4. Fortify faith. Prayer and purpose refill the soul faster than fear drains it. 5. Repeat until reflex. Make resistance your gym. Each victory strengthens your self-command muscle. The goal isn't to destroy the self, it's to train it. You can't eliminate ego, but you can educate it. Philosophical flip. The comfort trap. Comfort is clever. It calls itself peace, but it's anesthesia. It numbs ambition until the soul stops signaling pain. Then mediocrity feels normal. The Stoics taught voluntary discomfort, fasting, cold, silence, not for punishment, but preservation. Because if you don't choose small struggles voluntarily, life will assign bigger ones forcibly. Spiritual flip. The purification through conflict. Allah says, "And we will surely test you until we make evident those who strive and those who are patient." Struggle isn't cruelty, it's clarification. Every hardship filters pretenders from pursuers. The soul becomes pure when pressure exposes what still needs surrender. Pain is the detergent of destiny. De-achiever insight. When silence becomes strategy. Not every war needs noise. Sometimes the battle is fought in restraint, in choosing not to respond, not to retaliate, not to quit. The quiet fighter wins long before the loud one, because while others react, he recalibrates. Self-control is stealth warfare. Your calm is camouflage. Your patience is a weapon. Framework. The command chain for self-mastery. Mind obeys mission. Purpose dictates priorities. Body obeys mind. Action follows clarity, not craving. Emotion obeys faith. Conviction overrides condition. This is command hierarchy. Break the chain, and chaos rules. Keep it intact, and destiny salutes. Micro-parable. The lion caged in captivity. A lion raised in captivity was released into the wild. For days, it walked in circles the size of its old cage. Freedom means nothing if your mind still serves the zoo. The cage is gone, but the pattern remains. Break the circle. Roar again. Inner declaration. The warrior's creed. I fight what no one sees. My enemies wear my face. I silence the voice that says later. I master emotion before it masters me. I conquer comfort before it cages me. My discipline is my weapon, my faith my fortress. I win not once, but daily. In private, in silence, in spirit. I am both battlefield and victor. Echo of victory. The loudest battles end in silence. That's how the inner war concludes, not with applause, but with peace. You'll know you've won when temptation feels small, and the man in the mirror finally obeys you. That's freedom. Not from the world, but from yourself. Transition to Chapter 9. The fire you're running from. You've met your enemy. Now it's time to meet your forge. In the next chapter, we step into the very fire you have avoided, the place where discomfort burns away weakness and reveals the indestructible you. End of Chapter 8.
Chapter 9. The fire you're running from. The flame you fear. Every person runs from something. Pain, failure, exposure, responsibility. You think you're avoiding danger, but what you're really avoiding is destiny. The fire you flee from is the same fire that would have forged you. You ask for strength, then run when life sends resistance. You pray for purpose, then retreat when it demands pressure. But there's no greatness without heat, because fire doesn't just destroy, it defines. The lie of safety. Safety feels righteous. You tell yourself you're protecting your peace. You say, I'm not ready yet. But safety is just fear dressed in wisdom's clothing. Every time you choose comfort over courage, you shrink your capacity to become. The cocoon was never built to be a home. It was built to be temporary shelter for transformation. Stay there too long, and the wings you were meant to grow suffocate under softness. The same fire you avoid is the gate to everything you were born to do. The psychology of avoidance. The brain's first command is survival. It confuses unfamiliar with unsafe. That's why you procrastinate, self-sabotage, or stay in circles that don't challenge you. Your mind would rather repeat misery than risk mastery, because misery is predictable. Mastery is not. Avoidance releases short-term relief, but compounds long-term regret. It's the comfort of control traded for the pain of purpose postponed. What you call peace might actually be paralysis. Case study: the man who refused the forge. He was talented, brilliant even. He wrote plans no one else could imagine, but he never executed them. He said, "I'll start when things settle." But life never settled. Years passed, and his potential aged into memory. The tragedy wasn't that he failed, it's that he never entered the fire that would have refined him. The forge waited. He never showed up. Philosophical anchor. Epictetus is on testing. Epictetus said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." The Stoics saw hardship as divine selection. They believed God sends challenges not to punish, but to prepare those chosen for heavier crowns. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor, and an easy life never made a legendary soul. If your days are too calm, it's not peace, it's stagnation. Growth starts where comfort ends. Spiritual parallel. Fire is purification. In the Quran, fire is often described as both punishment and purification, not because God enjoys pain, but because purification always feels like burning. Gold must be heated to shine. Faith must be tested to prove real. When you go through hardship and stay obedient, you're not being destroyed, you're being distilled. The pain you endure removes the impurities of ego, fear, and doubt. What remains is pure submission, the real you. So stop asking God to remove the fire. Ask Him to make you fireproof. De-achiever insight. The gift inside the flame. The fire exposes what you worship. When life heats up, some people melt, some people mold, and a few become mirrors, reflecting the flame instead of fleeing it. That's how clarity is born. The moments that burn you the most reveal what you truly value, what you're willing to die for, and what parts of you are still counterfeit. Pain doesn't just hurt, it teaches. It shows you the version of yourself that can't enter your next level. The fire is not your enemy, it's your initiation. Micro story: the potter and the kiln. A young apprentice asked his master, "Why do you place the clay in fire after shaping it? Isn't it already beautiful?" The potter smiled, "Because beauty without strength is useless." The apprentice watched as the pot cracked and broke. He gasped, "It's ruined." The potter replied, "No, it revealed its weakness. Now I know what must be remade stronger." The next version survived the kiln. It didn't just look beautiful, it could hold purpose. The same is true for you. Your trials aren't breaking you, they're proving what can carry your calling. Framework: the courage protocol. 1. Identify the fire. What situation, responsibility, or decision are you avoiding? Name it. Clarity melts fear. 2. Step closer, not away. Proximity reduces fear's power. The longer you stare from distance, the hotter it looks. 3. Anchor to meaning. Don't run into fire for ego. Run in because purpose demands it. 4. Remember past flames. You've survived worse. Write them down. Proof kills panic. 5. Walk through with faith. Don't sprint. That's panic. Walk steady. That's strength. When you emerge, don't brag. Glow quietly. The light will speak for you. Philosophical flip. The blessing of burn. When life burns your plans, it's not betrayal, it's editing. Every fire removes what would have slowed you down later. You prayed for power. He gave you process. The Stoics trained for this acceptance. They didn't pray for easy days. They prayed for stronger backs. When you expect fire, you stop panicking and start preparing. Spiritual flip. The divine furnace. Prophet Abraham was thrown into a literal fire, but when faith entered with him, God said, "O fire, be coolness and safety for Abram." Faith turned flame into favor. The fire meant to kill him became the womb of his calling. That's divine irony. What was designed to end you may birth you instead. When your faith is real, the same fire that destroys others becomes your testimony. The Achiever Insight, the alchemy of pain. Pain is the raw material of power. Every hero story begins with loss. Every reformer walks through rejection. It's not coincidence. It's curriculum. The alchemist believed lead could become gold under heat. You are the same experiment. Heat refines, time transforms. Stop asking for gold while running from fire. They are the same process. Framework, the resistance ritual. When you feel fear, follow this ritual. Step 1, pause. Acknowledge the feeling. Naming it neutralizes panic. Step 2, pray. Ask for strength, not escape. Step 3, push. Take one uncomfortable action within 30 seconds. Momentum melts fear faster than reassurance. Step 4, praise. Thank the moment. It's making you immortal. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's obedience in the presence of it. Micro parable, the blacksmith's daughter. A girl once complained, "Father, why does God keep testing us?" The blacksmith held up a sword glowing red. Because untested metal bends too easily. She frowned. "But the heat hurts." He smiled. "Yes, but see, the sword doesn't cry. It shines. Every tear you shed in obedience becomes polish for your purpose." Inner declaration, the fire-born creed. I no longer run from the flame. I run through it. My fear fuels my faith. My scars are symbols of survival. Every burn refines, every trial defines. I am not fragile clay. I am refined gold. The fire doesn't destroy me. It reveals me. I was made in heat. I am fireborn. Echo of becoming. When you stop running from the fire, you realize it was never chasing you. It was calling you. The furnace was never meant to kill you. It was meant to prove you could not die untested. So step into your heat. Let it purify, not petrify. Because the fire you're running
from is the exact doorway to who you're meant to become. Transition to Chapter 10. Become the storm. You've walked through fire. Now you'll learn to become it. In the final chapter, we'll fuse everything you've survived, the pain,
the pressure, the purpose, and teach you how to command chaos itself. This is where the legend begins. End of Chapter 9.
Chapter 10. Become the storm. The calm before command. You spent years begging life to calm down. You prayed for ease, for silence, for rest, but the world never stopped spinning. And now you finally understand why. You were never meant to wait for calm. You were meant to create it. The storm was never your enemy. It was your invitation. The lie of peaceful progress. They told you to seek balance, to avoid stress, to move at your own pace. But destiny doesn't speak that language. Balance is for those content with mediocrity. The disciplined live in controlled chaos, not because they love pressure, but because they learned to breathe inside it. You don't conquer storms by hiding. You conquer them by becoming weather yourself. The psychology of chaos control. Humans fear what they can't predict. That's why turbulence terrifies passengers, but not pilots. The difference is training. When you've practiced in pressure, chaos feels familiar. Storms don't scare the prepared. They synchronize with them. The goal isn't to eliminate chaos. It's to engineer composure so deep that turbulence becomes tempo. Case study: the captain who sailed through hell. In 1902, a cargo ship was trapped in a hurricane off the Atlantic. The crew begged the captain to turn back. He looked at the compass, then the sky, and said, "If we turn back, the storm owns us forever." For 30 hours, they fought wind and water. When the skies cleared, they were the only vessel still afloat. Later, the captain said, "A ship isn't tested in harbors. Neither are you. Destiny measures you in motion, not meditation." Philosophical anchor. Epictetus on endurance. Epictetus said, "When circumstances seem unkind, remember they train the will." The Stoic didn't pray for smoother seas. He prayed for steadier hands. He knew storms expose what peace hides. Every hardship is rehearsal for a heavier crown. When you understand this, you stop begging for easy. You start demanding evolution. Spiritual parallel. Commanded chaos. The Quran says, "Indeed, with hardship comes ease." Notice the wording, with, not after. Ease isn't waiting at the end of difficulty. It travels inside it. God hides peace inside pressure, but only those who move through the storm discover it. When you stop running, He stops the rain. Because storms are not punishment, they're performance tests of faith. The Achiever Insight. The power of stillness in motion. The strongest force in any storm isn't wind. It's I, the calm center that moves through chaos untouched. That's what mastery feels like. Still inside, unstoppable outside. When the world rages, you stay composed. When fear screams, you answer with focus. Stillness is not inaction. It's control so precise, it looks effortless. Microstory. The Sword and the Wind. A warrior once trained on a cliff. Every day the wind knocked him down. One day, he stopped resisting. He learned to swing with the gust instead of against it. The next battle came during a storm. His enemies struggled to stand. He moved like the wind itself. He didn't conquer nature. He cooperated with it. Mastery is not domination. It's alignment. Framework. The storm protocol. Accept the weather. Stop labeling chaos as bad. It's information. Locate your I. Find the internal calm, breath, prayer, focus that centers you. Move with rhythm, not reaction. Let turbulence set tempo, not direction. Communicate calm. Your composure stabilizes others. Leadership begins here. Extract the lesson before the lightning stops. Every storm leaves a manual. Read it. Philosophical flip. From survival to strategy. Most people pray for storms to pass. The wise learn to sail within them. Survivors react. Strategists read patterns. When you study chaos instead of fearing it, you start predicting it. Prediction breeds control. Control births peace. That's how you turn survival into sovereignty. Spiritual flip. The divine wind. Prophet Moses faced an ocean behind him and an army ahead. God didn't remove the storm, he split it. Faith doesn't erase chaos, it rearranges it to make a way. When you believe deeply enough, even destruction becomes direction. Every closed door isn't denial, it's redirection of divine wind. De-achiever insight. Commanding chaos versus chasing calm. Stop chasing balance, build bandwidth. You weren't made for low voltage. Some people need routine to function. You need resistance to rise. Commanding chaos means using pressure as propulsion. You turn deadlines into discipline, fear into focus, pain into performance. That's how legends operate. Framework. The composure equation. Pressure plus preparation plus purpose equals composure. Pressure tests you. Preparation steadies you. Purpose aligns you. Miss one and you drown. Master all three and storms become strategy sessions. Microparable. The monk and the thunder. A monk meditated through a thunderstorm. Lightning struck a nearby tree. Another monk shouted, "Aren't you afraid?" He smiled, eyes closed. The thunder shouts, "I just don't answer." That's the level you're training for. Respond only to what deserves your reaction. Ignore everything that's merely loud. Philosophical anchor. Seneca on control. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Friction reveals facets. Discipline reveals diamonds. You're not supposed to escape the friction. You're supposed to gleam through it. Spiritual anchor. The storm as messenger. The Quran says, "He it is who shows you lightning, inspiring fear and hope, and brings down rain from the sky." Fear and hope in one verse. That's the dual nature of divine storms. They terrify to awaken. They water to renew. The same event that shakes your life may also feed your next harvest. De-achiever insight. When you become the storm, you'll know you've transcended when you no longer check forecasts. You don't ask, "Will it rain?" You prepare. Whatever comes, I move. Because storms respond to authority. When you've endured enough, they start recognizing you. That's when you stop fearing lightning and start wielding it. Framework. The storm commandments. Don't run. Stand. Cowards drown faster than swimmers. Don't rush. Wait for rhythm. Timing beats panic. Don't blame. Adapt. Every drop has data. Don't hide, lead. Your calm anchors others. Don't break, bend. Flexibility is unbreakable strength. Inner declaration. The storm creed. I am no longer a survivor. I am a system of calm inside chaos. I walk through thunder like ground beneath me. I command pressure. I convert pain. My pulse sets the weather. My faith fuels the wind. De-achiever insight. The aftermath of mastery. When you finally become the storm, life doesn't get easier. You get undeniable. Chaos still comes, but it now moves in rhythm with your breath. The wind no longer breaks you. It reports to you. That's what real mastery feels like. Not louder victories, but quieter control.
You stop needing applause. You start creating weather systems of impact. The mature warrior no longer seeks fights. He stabilizes worlds. Microstory, The Eye and the Horizon. A sailor once stood on the deck after surviving a hurricane. The sea was still angry, but the sky had cleared into a silver calm. His apprentice asked, "Captain, how did you know we'd make it?" He pointed to the horizon. "Because I wasn't looking for calm seas. I was looking for the eye, the place where the storm remembers who's steering." The lesson is eternal. Find your eye, and you'll always find your way. Framework, the sovereign routine. To live as storm and not as victim, build ritual around rhythm. 1. Morning alignment. Start before sunrise. Silence, scripture, stretch. Center the spirit before the storm wakes. 2. Mission mapping. Define 3 non-negotiables for the day. Storms can't drown clarity. 3. Midday stillness. 5 minutes of breath and reflection. Reset the eye. 4. Evening audit. What pressure did I command? What chaos taught me control? 5. Night surrender. Gratitude, forgiveness, rest. The storm rests inside you when peace reports for duty. Live like this, and calm stops being a condition. It becomes a constitution. Inner declaration. The command creed. I do not wait for calm. I create it. I do not pray for smaller storms. I grow larger sails. I command my world through discipline, faith, and focus. My stillness is strength. My movement is worship. My peace is louder than thunder. I am the eye, unshaken, unwavering, untamed. Wherever I walk, the storm obeys. Echo of infinity. And now, silence. The thunder fades. The winds kneel. You stand alone on the deck of your own destiny, breathing steady while the horizon bends to your resolution. This is not the end. It's the calm after completion, the moment the warrior becomes weather itself. From this point forward, you don't chase peace, you embody it. You don't wait for perfect conditions, you command them. And when the next storm rises, you'll smile because you no longer fear the sky. You are the sky. End of chapter 10 and of Die Empty, Live Legendary.
Epilogue. The last page before forever. There comes a moment after every battle when the noise dies, when victory doesn't shout, it breathes. That's this moment. The silence after the storm, the space where purpose exhales and peace takes form. You made it here, not unscarred, but unbroken, not untouched, but transformed. You've met your fears, your failures, your fire, and you've learned their secret. They were never meant to stop you. They were designed to shape you. The pain was proof. The doubt was data. The pressure was promotion. You once prayed for an easier path. Now you understand the path was never supposed to be easy. It was supposed to be yours. Every legend eventually learns this truth. Greatness is not inherited, it's endured. And peace is not the absence of war, it's the mastery of it. When you die empty, you don't leave quietly. You echo. Your discipline outlives your body. Your faith continues through those you touched. Your name becomes less a sound and more a standard. Look back now. All those moments that felt like endings were simply initiations. You thought you were losing control. You were gaining command. You thought you were breaking. You were being built. And if heaven rewound the clock and offered you an easier life, you'd refuse it because you've met who you become through hardship. You've learned to move when afraid, to pray when uncertain, to finish when tired, to speak when silent hearts needed strength. You've become the type of soul that even time respects. And when death finally knocks, it won't find hesitation, only completion. This is your forever, not the years you live, but the impact that never dies. Because those who die empty never really die. They live on in every decision they inspired, every storm they survived, every seed of courage they left behind. You came here searching for calm. You leave knowing you are the calm. You came asking for peace. You leave as the proof that it's possible. And when the world trembles again, when fear rises, when darkness presses in, remember this. The storm doesn't end the story. The storm is the story. And you were born to command it. Die empty. Live legendary. Forever.